Hey guys, today we're going to build on the carnivore family we've covered some of last time with the cats, dogs, and bears. And this time we're going to be focused on the skunk, raccoon, and weasel families. So without further ado, let's get into it. The striped skunk is found all over North America except the far north, and it is also probably the most well-known skunk species. It's notable for having two stripes along either side of its back, with varying amounts of white in its tail and in the center of its back. There are several other forms that are quite rare, and thus I don't have the photos to show you, but they can also have an almost entirely white back with a shorter tail than the similar hooded skunk. That's the main difference. Additionally, there is a form which is all black except for the nape of the neck and a stripe on its face. This rare form is also similar to a rare form of the hooded skunk, and again you can tell the difference by the size of the tail, though this difference only needs to be noted in the parts of the southwest where both species appear, which you'll find out later. The eastern spotted skunk is an interesting species of skunk. It's found all over the eastern half of the United States, and its black and white pattern is distinctive. It's also smaller than the other species of skunk, but the most interesting thing, though, is that when it goes to spray you, it will do a handstand, as you can see in the top picture. The western spotted skunk is very similar to the eastern spotted skunk in basically every way, except it's found in the western half of the United States and southwestern BC. There's a small overlap in range right around the middle of the continent, and the main way that you'd identify the two is that the western spotted skunk has more white on its tail, and it's got a broader white line below its ear. The hooded skunk is found only in the southwestern states of Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, as well as to the south in Mexico. Its typical form has an all-white, grizzled back with a large white tail. It's smaller than the striped skunk, and as with the striped skunk, has several rare forms that are fairly different. It's got a form that is black on its back with a black tail and only white on its face and two stripes along either side. There's also another form which has only white on its nape and its face. The main difference between the hooded skunk and the striped skunk in that last instance is the smaller size of the hooded skunk and the longer tail. The American hog-nosed skunk is an interesting species as well. It's the largest skunk species in North America, and it's found all over the Southwest. It looks like a typical hooded skunk at first, but it has a proportionally smaller tail, and its nose is significantly longer and is bare skin, like a hog's nose. There's also no white stripe on its face like the hooded and striped skunks both have. Moving on to the raccoon family, the common raccoon is a species most people should know by now, and it's found all over North America and has also been introduced to parts of Europe and Japan. It's fairly obvious what it is just by looking at it because of the black mask and the banded tail and its general body shape. The white-nosed coati is found only in the southwestern part of the United States. It has a long white nose with white markings on its head and a dark brown body with a fairly long tail. The ringtail, also known as the ringtail cat, is found in the western part of the United States as well as Mexico. It has white markings on its face, a gray body, and a long banded tail. The American badger is actually the first member of the weasel family we will be looking at today, and every other species we'll be looking at after this is also a part of the weasel family. It's found over most of the North American continent with the exception of the southeast and the north. It has a black and white face, a stubby tail, and a grayish-white coloration. The least weasel is the smallest species of weasel. It's found in the northern half of North America as well as over in Eurasia. It can be identified from other weasel species by its small size, its short tail, and the fact that its tail is not tipped with black. Also, as you can see, it's brown and white in the summer and fully white in the winter. The short-tailed weasel is also known as a stoat in the summer and an ermine in the winter. It's found all over northern North America and Eurasia. It's somewhat bigger than the least weasel with a longer tail that's tipped black, and as we saw before with the least weasel, it's brown and white in the summer and fully white in the winter. The long-tailed weasel is found in the United States and southern Canada, as well as Central America and northern South America. In the northern parts of its range, it's white in the winter with a slightly orange-colored tail with a black tip. Its tail is longer than in the short-tailed weasel, but the main identifying factor for the long-tailed weasel is that its underparts are cream-colored rather than white, as in the short-tailed weasel and the least weasel. There's also a bridled form, which you can see in the bottom right image, which is found in the southwestern United States, and it has black and white markings on its face in addition to the normal coloration. The black-footed ferret used to be found all over the western plains and part of the Rocky Mountains, where it used to have a much larger range, but it's now confined to several sites scattered around its old territory. It's yellowish-gray in color, with a black mask and a black tip of its tail, and of course the feet are black, which give it its name. The American mink is found all over North America, and it's notable for being almost entirely dark brown with a white chin patch. Also, you'll usually see this guy near water because that's where he catches its prey. The American marten is found all over Canada, Alaska, and some parts of the Rocky Mountains of the western United States. It's brown in color with a paler head than its body, and its chest is orange. There are several variations, particularly in individuals from Ontario, where it can come in much lighter colors, some even being yellow. The fisher, also known as the fisher cat, is found all over the southern half of Canada, as well as parts of the northern United States. It's much larger than the other members of the weasel family, and like the American marten, it's usually found in trees. It's identifiable by its dark brown coloration and its long bushy tail, as well as its large size. The wolverine is found in northern Canada, as well as in the Rocky Mountains. It's one of the largest members of the weasel family, and it's dark brown with some cream-colored fur along its sides and forehead. The northern river otter is found in most parts of North America, except for the southwestern deserts and the central plains. It's dark-colored with a thick tail and webbed feet. It's also always found near water, as you might expect. The sea otter is found along the western coast of North America, through the Aleutian Islands and into the Kuril Islands in northern Japan. Though they no longer exist in much of this range, and the areas where they do still exist are marked in yellow on the map you can see here. It's fairly easy to identify. There are no other species exactly like it. One interesting thing about it is that it floats on its back. And that's it for this video. As you can see, this is now my schedule for finishing up all the mammals of North America. Next is seals and sea lions, and then I'm going to continue with some herbivores, then insectivores, and finish off with the dolphins and whales. If you like this video, give it a like, and if you'd like to see more of this content, please hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.